Now this is something that happens to a lot of us in card making. We go to make a really easy, clean, and simple card, and then all of a sudden we look at it and it looks a little bit boring. It's just missing that one little thing in order to make it a really amazing card. Now we're going to be making a ton of cards today together, but if you're looking for additional ideas, my friends Ardith and Laurel are both collabing with me today to bring you even more inspiration with their own personal styles. So if you're the type of person that doesn't add enough to their cards, or maybe you can't seem to stop adding and that it ends up being too much, these videos are going to give you some amazing ideas. So one thing we're going to have to do is get everything ready for the cards that we're going to be making. Now this is something I do quite often when I sit down to make multiple cards, is I'll use very similar stamp sets, very similar styles of stamps and sentiments so that I can just put them all together and make some pretty collages. Now these are some of my favorite stamps to do this with. They are the grouped layering stamps from the ton, and I'm going to show you this one kind of in a slower motion at regular speed so that you can see exactly how to use these stamps. I'm going to show you the other stamps that I created in a really fast motion so I'm not wasting anyone's time. So you'd notice that when I stamped the first layer of these stamps, all of these squares have popped up in between the flowers. Now that makes it easy because for each one of the layers of these layering stamps, you're going to line up those squares. And that way it makes it super easy rather than trying to line up stems and petals. You're just lining up those really great four-sided squares, super easy and quick to do. And then you're just going to stamp each of those layers, and each time they're going to line up. These stamps range in a variety of sizes, so from really itty bitty ones like these floral bits here, all the way to really large 9x12 stamp sets full of your favorite things. Now what's cool about these, not only are flowers available, but also leaves, seasonal items, sentiments, and alphabet stamps. And I think the coolest thing about these stamps is that they all cut out at the same time. So all of these layered stamps that I'm stamping right now, I can simply cut them out with one die cut. Okay, now that I've shown you how these stamps work, I'm going to go through them really quickly, the ones that I used for this card set. All you need to do if you're interested in any of the color combinations or the names of the stamp is to hit the pause button on your screen and you'll be able to read them so it doesn't go by too quickly for you.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
Alright, I'm just going to cut the sentiments now. So as you can see, I've stamped the first layer of my sentiments, which is this small, just a very normal standard font in black. And the second stamp that goes over top is in a scripty font, and you can choose to stamp that either in a specific color of ink, like you did the first one, or you can heat emboss it. So I decided to heat emboss mine in gold, and all you need to do is add these dies and it cuts out all the sentiments at the same time. I also wanted to mention that from start to finish, making all of these cards, coming up with the idea, die cutting and stamping all of those different layers, it took me just 1 hour of real time. That's how quick and easy these stamps are. It's incredible. Okay, so now we're coming up with our conflict. I never glue my cards until I'm completely satisfied. So I'm sitting here and I'm arranging, and yes, it's looking super gorgeous, but it could be taken to the next level a little bit more texture or interest could be added to the card. I don't want to take away from this beautiful focal point of all these flowers that I just cut out, but I do want to add a little bit more. So what's a girl to do? Let's get experimenting. One of the first things that you could do is use some just very simple white embossing paste, or any paste for that matter, and stencil it onto your background. This is going to allow you to add texture to your card, but it's going to still remain really subtle because of that white color. It's really beautiful, and I feel like it just takes your card to the next level. So here's a look up close at it, and here you can see the cards always side by side. So when I have that texture on the paper, you see it doesn't add a whole lot more excitement. It doesn't take away from my flowers, but it does add some beautiful feminine touch to the background. Another thing that you can do is add a little bit of decorative washi to your background. Whether it's thin or thick, it will look really great, add a little bit of an elegant touch, and in this case, a little bit of pop of color. I had to be careful which flowers I arranged on this one though, so that it coordinated with the washi tape. And don't be afraid to play around with the collages as well and just glue when you're all finished. Now another thing you can do is add double-sided tape to your card. I've added them in a variety of thicknesses just to add a bit of extra interest, and then just simply pour over your embossing powder. Now remember not to remove all the double-sided adhesive, just one at a time so that you don't start mixing all of your powders together. It creates this really cute background and it perfectly matched the flowers that I created as well. Don't forget the collage you created in the bottom right-hand corner. You can easily move the different areas and elements to the middle of the card or into a different corner. Now using similar supplies, this time I grabbed some thicker tape, 2-inch size, and I added a little bit of foil over top. Just simply lay the foil over top, add it to the adhesive, and then use anything to just smooth over top. You could use your fingers, for example, or if you have a tool like this to give you even pressure, that would help as well. This is a really great way to add some shine or some sparkle to your cards. If you happen to have a cover plate die, give it a try and cut it out using some white cardstock. You can glue that to your background. This is kind of similar to using the paste. You're going to get that same kind of texture. And then when you add your collage on top, it's going to just make your card extra elegant. Now another thing that's similar to the cover plate is a debossing die. This is almost like a paper pierced pattern into your cardstock. So it doesn't cut anything, it just cuts a pattern into the cardstock directly. It's another really subtle way to add it to the background. And of course, there are those really even smaller and subtler options using something like sequins or perhaps some clear Nouveau drops to add a couple of clear drops to your background, or maybe even directly onto your flowers to look like fresh morning dew. And that will also create really great touch to finalize your card. Any leftover pieces are going to go into this cup of mine. This idea I got from Floral, who's also in our collaboration today. Now, if you like those drops, why not take it to the next level? Make some ladybugs to go around your flowers or something else in a really cool shape using your Nouveau drops. If you don't have any of those Nouveau drops, you could use things like jewels or sequins, and Ardith is going to be showing you how to use those in her video. So be sure to hop on over. Bye for now.